Saddle up for civil unrest. A recast, somberly topical. I don't see the future. I don't pretend to. There's always the potential for civil unrest. 2024, well, better to have it and not need it, right? So here is this episode. It's a recast, but should be coming out on a Sunday. Hope you enjoy it. Hello, and welcome to Gunfighter Life, podcast where we talk about being a gunfighter in today's modern world, what that means, and how to walk that out. I am your host, Michael Milito. First and foremost, I am a Christian. I make no apologies for that. It's first and foremost in everything I do, and this podcast is no different. Today's topic is going to be on gunfighting, firearms, and civil unrest. I have no idea of knowing when you'll be listening to this, but if you're listening to it at any time soon, you'll know that there's civil unrest here in America and throughout the world. So there's that. And I felt like it would be remiss of me to not talk about that with you guys and share knowledge and experience that I have. That's why this podcast was started in the first place. A little bit about me. If you haven't listened to past episodes, I don't do this to brag. Everything I have is a gift from God. I didn't earn it or survive by anything of my own. Everything that I have is a gift from God. All my talents and skills and experience, it's all a gift. I started shooting at a very early age. Some of my very earliest memories are of shooting. I grew up in the southeastern woodlands, hunting and fishing, shooting from a very early age. As early as I can remember, I've hunted all over this beautiful country. I've hunted whitetail on the East Coast and mule deer on the West Coast and black bear on the East Coast and elk on the West Coast and wolves and bears and prairie dogs and a vast variety of things. I started competition shooting at an early age. I did my first formal competition, I believe, in 1998. Won several gold medals while I was still in school. I've competed in everything from precision rifle to practical pistol like USPSA and IDPA. I'm a state champion a couple of times over in a couple of different disciplines, Western regional champion. I've shot a lot of different competitions. I've competed in all kinds of things. Action pistol is my bread and butter, but I've done all kinds of things from precision rifle to muzzle loader and archery and shotgun. You name it, I've competed, even hatchet throwing. So I have a vast variety there. I joined the Marine Corps at 17. I did 2 combat tours in Iraq in the infantry as an assaultman, a specialized infantryman. I've seen combat. I was there for the initial invasion of Iraq and for the big push, 05 and 06 again. So I have a few combat tours. After my time in the Marine Corps, I went to work for LAPD. So by God's grace, I've survived carrying a gun in some of the nastiest places around the world and some of the meanest streets. I worked some of the nastiest places in LA, and by that measure, some of the nastiest places in the country, dangerous-wise. Kicking down doors in both environments. So I have that experience. I also served in the U.S. Army, both full-time and part-time in National Guard. Primary MOS of infantry, hold some other MOSs. But this is gunfighter life, so mostly infantry. Let's see. U.S. Army, competition shooting. Full-time firearms instructor. I'm an FBI certified firearms instructor. Certified in a bunch of other 3-letter government agencies. I've been a professional firearms instructor for many, many years. For a long time, I've been a professional firearms instructor, NRA certified firearms instructor. It was my full-time profession for a while. As of right now, I am the commander of a special unit, an armed unit in a fairly big metropolitan area. I'm very blessed to be the commander of that. I won't say where or what that is because that is not affiliated with this podcast. These opinions are purely my own and are no way affiliated with the job that I do now. But I'm very blessed to be the commander of a tactical team. And as you can guess, it's a major metropolitan area. There is civil unrest here. There is rioting here, and there have been deaths here. So I'm very, very much walking out Very much armed day to day, walking around dealing with these riots, these protests that turn into riots. So that's a little bit about me, and so I just want you to know I'm not coming at this from, nothing wrong with people with opinions. Everybody has their opinions, but I'm coming at this from a real world perspective, walking it out day to day. Got a lot of experience, and hopefully I share that with you guys. Getting started, like I said, first and foremost, I am a Christian. I have other podcasts that deal with strictly preaching, called Simple Man Sermons. But first and foremost in life, you got to be right with God. That's far more important. What's the point, the Bible says, if you gain the whole world and lose your own soul? So be right with the Father. I'd like to open this with just saying, like the Bible says, I don't put my trust in horses or chariots or swords or spears. And you can put that in modern terms. I don't trust in an AR-15 or in a Glock. They've both let me down. I put my trust in God and God alone. But I'll read from you Psalms 91, a little bit of comfort here before we get started. Do not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day. Not the dread of the disease that stalks in darkness, nor the disaster that strikes at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes look and see the reward of the wicked. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. Those are all from Psalms 91. And this is from Deuteronomy chapter 20. When you go out to fight your enemies and face horses and chariots and armies greater than your own, do not be afraid, for the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt is with you. When you prepare for battle, the priest must come forward and speak to the troops. He will say to them, listen to me, you men of Israel, do not be afraid as you go to fight your enemies today. Do not lose heart or panic or tremble before them, for the Lord your God is going with you. He will fight for you against your enemies, and he will give you victory. The battle is the Lord's. Never forget that. He does use men to fight, but the battle is always the Lord's. Well, let's talk about tools. This is Gunfighter Life. First and foremost, talk about skill. You're probably expecting me to go first and foremost as to what gun should I get? What gun should I get what's the best gun for civil unrest, for rioting? And forgive me, I'm eating peanut butter right now. I'm hungry. So I'm going to tell you the best gun that you can have for civil unrest is the one that you have right now and that you're most familiar with. Unless it's like a single shot break open 22 and that's all. I mean, that's not the best gun. But generally speaking, the best gun is the one that you have and that you know. If you don't have a lot of experience, and let's say you're a U.S. military veteran, probably the AR-15, because that's probably what you're most familiar with. Is it the end-all, be-all firearm? No, it's got its flaws, but if that's what you're most familiar with, if you know how to fix a malfunction with it, because all guns malfunction, they're mechanical devices. So the best gun for civil unrest and rioting for you is the one that you're most familiar with. It's the best one that you know. If you've been hunting squirrels, in pine trees with a 20-gauge shotgun for your whole life, the 20-gauge shotgun is probably your best tool for civil unrest. You got a good 870 20-gauge with a variety of different loads. I mean, that's damn fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So the gun that you have and you're most familiar with, that's the best gun for you for civil unrest. Next thing you need to do is make sure your gun's zeroed. If you just went out and bought your first gun or bought another gun and you haven't zeroed it, it's almost worse than a baseball bat because you have no idea where it's going to shoot. And if you're trying to shoot a bad guy and there's a bunch of innocent protesters around him and you shoot the wrong person because you didn't go out and zero your gun, that's on you. As much as it depends on you, you need to make sure that weapon is zeroed. That's the first thing every soldier, every Marine does. I mean, that's the first thing you do is zero your weapon. Don't think that a weapon comes from the factory zeroed. I've talked to people that should know better, and I ask them if they zero their gun. They're like, oh, it's factory zeroed. No, there's no such thing. The gun has to be zeroed for you. You have to know where that gun shoots. I'm not exactly going to get into how to do that here because I did a whole separate episode on that. You can go back and look in the archives and find my episode on zeroing. But it doesn't matter if it's a rifle, a pistol, or a shotgun. You have to zero it. And with a shotgun, you have to pattern it. And you have to do it with the ammo you expect to be using. The next thing I'm going to tell you to do is get good quality ammo. Don't trust your life to some cheap, foreign, steel-cased ammunition. If it's the apocalypse is upon us and that's all you can get, then yeah, of course, it's better than no ammo. But I'd rather have 10 rounds of really, really good, pristine quality, nickel-cased, expanding, low flash, really good ammo than 50 rounds of junk crap ammo. I have no idea where it's going to shoot. I don't know if it's going to break my extractor. I don't know if it's going to cause malfunction because some of it's overpowered and some of it's underpowered. It's got no consistency. So don't just buy ammo. You can buy crap ammo to practice with if you want. I would advise against like stuff that's going to ruin your gun, like bimetal jacketed and stuff like that. But buy good quality ammo and buy even better quality ammo and zero your rifle with that. Or your pistol or your shotgun, so you know where it shoots. So that would be next. Right now, I'm going to tell you take what you can get, but for a pistol, any of the tried and true, don't trust your life to anything unproven. Don't get any of this whiz-bang, new hotness ammo. Get something that's been used and tested in real world for several years. I tell my guys, and I'll tell you the same thing, don't trust your life to anything unless it's been around for at least 3 years. Like the new gun that comes out, the new hot Glock, the new hot whatever, even Glocks, even SIGs, even whatever, they all have issues when they first come out. Not always, but enough to know that you shouldn't trust your life to them. So the same with ammo. Trust something that's proven. Spear Gold Dot, a great proven round, both in rifle and pistol. Winchester Ranger, both rifle and pistol and shotgun, great rounds. Remington Golden Saber, I don't like them as much, but they're definitely proven. They'll definitely work. Any of the rounds that have been around at Hornady, they're more geared towards civilians, but they have a lot of good proven defensive rounds in rifle, pistol, and shotgun. But you want a good expanding round in rifle, a soft point or hollow point depending on, but a good proven expanding hollow point round, one that's geared for defensive purposes. So make sure you have that and know what that is. Make sure you know it functions in your gun. Don't trust your life to anything unproven. Don't just assume because you have what's reported to be a good gun and you have what's reported to be good defensive ammo that's going to work in your gun. Quick story, I had a new Glock, which are known for being super reliable, and they generally are, but that's, again, a generality, and I had very good ammunition. One of the top manufacturers I just recommended, it was a hot, new, approved FBI load. Like, I was like, this is going to be great. And even, this was years ago, but I put it in and I carried it without testing it. And the first time I tested it caused a malfunction. The feed geometry of that round, not to get too nerdy on you, but it was gouging big chunks out of the side of the round when it would chamber it. It shoots other ammo just fine. That gun I had for years and it was great. It would work with pretty much any other ammo, but it wouldn't work with that new FBI load, even though they were both supposed to be the top-notch thing. They just didn't like each other. And you'll find that with some guns. Some guns are more finicky than others. So make sure you know that. You don't trust your life to anything unproven. Don't trust your life to my buddy says, because if you get in a gunfight and you don't win, it doesn't matter what your buddy says. That's on you. So let's talk about a little of the categories and how they fit in to how to be used and what their strengths and weaknesses are for civil unrest. We'll go with handguns. I'll lump them all in, pistols and revolvers. But the big advantage of the handgun, well, let's start off with why a handgun. A handgun is the least effective things we're going to talk about today. It's less effective than a rifle. It's less effective than a shotgun. It's far less effective. It's far harder to master. It's far harder to get hits, especially at distance. So why do most people gravitate towards a pistol? Well, even myself, like I got a pistol on me right now. I generally always do if I'm awake. And I'm not, even sometimes when I'm running, but pretty much always have a pistol on you. And that's the big advantage of a pistol is, one, you can always have it on you. It's not too much of a hindrance to do your day-to-day duties. And two, you can conceal it. So if you have to move through a crowd of people or you have to get out of rioting or looting, you can conceal the pistol on you and you're not a target to law enforcement. You're not a target to other protesters or rioters. You're not, You're not the wrong looking guy in the wrong place with a gun that gets targeted. So don't be that guy. A pistol is great for that. A pistol is also great in that you can use it one-handed. Yeah, I know you can shoot a rifle and a shotgun one-handed. I've done it. I mean, I know you can do it. I know you should practice with it. But that being said, a handgun is easily shot with one hand, which means you have another hand to call 911 on a cell phone, or to carry a child to safety, or to open a gate, or to do any other number of mundane tasks or less life-saving right now tasks. You could even throw on a tourniquet if you know how to do it, and have a handgun in the other hand to protect yourself and the one you're putting a tourniquet on. For those reasons, a handgun is great. But it is less lethal in general. In general, any of the big defensive handgun calibers, 9, 40, 45, everybody will have their favorite, but they generally have about a 20% lethality rate, which means 20% is not great. You get into rifles, full-powered rifles and shotguns, you're looking at 80%. And these are rough numbers, but far less effective, but you can have it on you all the time. Even, like I said, my full-time job, professional gunfighter, leader of a tactical team, but I'm the leader, and lately I have been going around quite a bit with a full-size long gun on my person, either right next to me in a vehicle or literally strapped on me, a long gun. But a lot of times I don't, because even for me, that's my profession. It's still kind of hard to do that and do my other tasks like commanding the unit. So they're more convenient to have on you all the time than a rifle or a shotgun. So that's a big advantage of the handgun. All right, let's move to rifles. And I'm going to say for civil unrest, we're probably talking about some kind of semi-automatic repeating rifle, modern sporting rifle, whatever you want to call it. And the most prolific one in America is the AR-15, and behind that is the AK-47. I did a whole podcast on AR-15 versus AK-47. Both are fine weapons. The fact that they're still used all over the world shows that they're both fine weapons. Know how to run your gun, know how to do reloads, whatever kind it is, know how to fix malfunctions. Yes, AKs malfunction, know how to fix those. Know what kind of ammo it likes, know where it's zeroed, know all those things. The big advantage of them is you can project force a lot farther. My general practice with a handgun is at 50 yards, but for most people, practical accuracy with a handgun is far shorter than that. And unless you're a master with a handgun, your effective range is far shorter than that. But you can project force a lot farther with a rifle or even a shotgun, because that gives you more time. Also, for most people, you can get a lot more precise shot with a rifle. So if you have one target in a crowd of not targets, that rifle is a big advantage. Another big advantage is capacity. Even though you're defensive, a lot of your modern handguns today have a capacity of 15 to 17 or more rounds. Your average rifle has got 30 rounds. Your average defensive rifle, AK, AR-15, Mini 14, which is a great weapon, anything like that. So you can project force a lot farther. They hold more rounds. Normally, I would say the chances are very slim that you're going to need that. Most gunfights are a few rounds, and even in these times, it's going to be less. But having more ammo, and especially in times like these, if you're ever going to need more ammo, now is a good time to have more ammo on tap. So no one know how to run them. The big advantage of the rifle, they're more precise. They have more power. They are more lethal. If you need to stop a fight, you generally need to stop it right now, and the rifle does that better than the pistol. And you can project force a lot farther and buy yourself more time. So the main advantages of the rifle there. Another category of things that people often overlook today is the shotgun. I did a whole other episode on that if you want to look at it. It's called The Forgotten Weapon, the shotgun. But the shotguns are great. I mean, they've been used for riots for a long time. One of the great things about the shotgun is you can use less lethal rounds. They still have the potential to be lethal, but you can use less lethal rounds. Rubber buckshot, beanbag loads, they are effective. Like I said, I was in law enforcement for quite a while. They are quite effective. Less lethal rounds, they are quite a deterrent. They're not 100% effective, but I mean, no firearm is 100% effective. But if you want to dissuade people without killing them, because we should never want to kill somebody unless we absolutely have to, they are good for that. So the shotgun is good for that. The shotgun is very versatile. It's a very good gun. It has a very wide variety of loads. Anything from birdshot for taking things as small as quail or chipmunks all the way up to an elephant. All the way up to a grizzly bear in Alaska. Most guides in Alaska that need protection from grizzly bears, they carry a 12-gauge shotgun with slugs. So you have a wide variety there. And go and listen to another podcast if you want to know all about shotguns. If you want to listen to that episode all about the shotgun, all about the forgotten weapon, the shotgun, you can go ahead and listen to that. But a big advantage in uncertain times like these in civil unrest is multiple projectiles. So buckshot, a standard defensive load for military and law enforcement is double-aught buck 9 pellets. So you get 9 pellets of, let's say, roughly 30 caliber, and they're all traveling, at around the same velocity as most handgun cartridges. So you're looking at that. Another thing you can do, advantage with a shotgun, even if you don't have less lethal rounds, if you just have buckshot, there is a technique, and it is less lethal, but it is definitely deadly force, and it should only be used in deadly force circumstances, where you can bounce buckshot off like a pavement or a hard surface and up into legs and shins and things like that. And it still has very much potential to be lethal, but less propensity than aiming right for the torso of somebody with double-aught buck. That's about as lethal as you can get. So you have that about a flexibility. You have the flexibility to switch between lethal and less lethal munitions fairly quickly if you know how to do it, if you know how to practice with it. Shotguns are very dependable. I don't know if any gun right now is affordable, but generally speaking, they're more affordable than handguns and rifles. And they are the most lethal statistics-wise. Like with the slugs or buckshot, they are the most lethal small arm most common people have. Everybody wants the AR-15 or whatever because it's the new. It's not even new. It's from the 1950s, but it's like the sexy thing you see on TV or whatever. But the shotgun is more lethal. Even a 20 gauge, it's more lethal. It has far more energy. Look it up. It's far more lethal than your standard .223. So you got that. You got other things too, like precision rifles, bolt-action rifles. I have a SCAR Heavy, a SCAR 308. That's one of my go-to rifles. But those are really more specialty things for special missions. So those are the big ones that we'll talk about, that I have talked about, the rifle, the pistol, and the shotgun. They all have strengths and weaknesses. I would advise you to have one of everything. If all you have is a Ruger 1022 or, a pump-action shotgun or, a Heritage Rough Rider 22 revolver, then you practice with what you have. Make sure you're going to zeroed. Make sure you're dry firing. If you're stuck at home with the COVID quarantine or whatever, once your rifle is zeroed, you can do a lot of practicing at home. Things you should be practicing, more important than your hardware, practice getting your gun, whatever gun it is, from where it normally is, whether that's in a case or whether that's in a holster on your hip. Practice getting the gun on target and getting a first round hit quickly as you can do it. Don't worry about what other people can do, worry about what you can do. As quick as you can get that first round hit on target, that's a fundamental skill that you need. Always practice your fundamentals: sight alignment, sight picture, trigger control, holding the gun steady, and manipulating the trigger without moving the gun. Practice your fundamentals first and foremost. But after that, practice getting that first round hit on target. In any gunfight, generally speaking, the first person that gets a good, not always, but generally, if you get the first good hit on target, you win. So practice that. That's a fundamental skill. Whether it's your pistol from the holster, whether it's your rifle from the low ready, practice that skill. You also want to practice, especially in times like this in civil unrest, target transitions, moving from one target to another, scanning with your weapon. Things you should always be practicing, but like I said, practice the fundamentals and practice getting that gun into action and on target quickly. All right, guys, I guess that's all I got for firearms and civil unrest. Be safe, pray. Being right with God is much more important than being safe in this world. But be safe out there, and I guess continue to be a gunfighter. Thanks. Have a blessed day.